Hello everyone, Ellie here, and I would like to talk about some ideas about how humanity can help each other thrive. This is Techciety. I want to dedicate today's topic to the idea of universal basic income. But for us to understand it, we need to go over why it's important. Humanity has long been in the survival of the fittest mentality. They realize that if they don't find a way to sustain themselves and way of life, it's game over. Nature is cruel and isn't impartial. In the wild, every living being has to worry about the basic needs. Those needs include food, water, warmth, safety, and rest. Once living beings get older, they begin needing other necessities such as relationships and prestige. There was an American psychologist by the name of Abraham Maslow who came up with a theory that stated what the needs of all humans were. This became known as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The original model had 5 levels: physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. The updated model added cognitive needs, aesthetic needs, and transcendence needs. And these tiers were divided into basic needs, psychological needs, and self-fulfillment needs. It begins with the physiological, which includes breathing, food, water, reproduction, sleep, homeostasis, and excretion. All these needs are the absolute basics that all humans need to be a living being. Breathing allows oxygen to flow in our blood. Food gives us energy and helps us grow. Water is necessary for the body to regulate itself on a multitude of factors. Reproduction is important to grow the population, is a good form of exercise, and is a great stress reliever. Sleep helps us restore our bodies. Homeostasis gives us stability in our bodies. And excretion is necessary to get rid of things our bodies don't need. Now let's say that those needs are met. What's the next step? That's right, safety needs. Those include health, personal security, property, resources, and employment. Having good mental and physical health ensures that we can continue to thrive. Safety and security makes sense because we need to be able to physically protect ourselves for survival. Property and shelter allows us to further protect ourselves. Financial and educational resources help us be independent and allow us to take care of basic things like food and shelter. Employment allows us to continuously acquire more resources and further security. These 2 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs are the basic needs that all living beings need. And once those are met, you can focus on meeting your psychological needs and your self-fulfillment needs. Let's take a typical child growing up in the world, whether they have both parents, one parent, adoptive parents, or guardians. There's a good chance that child has a lot of their basic needs taken care of by those adults rearing them. Because their basic needs are being taken care of, that child can do other things to focus on, such as friends, relationships, hobbies, lifelong passions, and identity discovery. How many of us adults have thought, kids should just enjoy being kids while it lasts? When we think of how we adults were as kids, we remember how some of the biggest kid problems we went through seem so small and insignificant when we grow up. When we don't have to worry about certain aspects of our lives that are unpleasant to think of, we're free to think about other things that are more pleasant. Unfortunately, that also means that if all we're allowed to think of in our lives is only unpleasant things, we're not freed up to think about the things in our lives that are pleasant. Which brings me to universal basic income. What universal basic income does is take care of the basic needs outlined in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. How it works is to provide all citizens in a particular area with money, ideally around the poverty line, without judgment, to provide equal footing for everyone at regular intervals. It will allow you to pay for food, shelter, and taking care of your body in more ways than without it. Now imagine if you were given a stipend of money on a monthly basis for life, regardless of who you are. How much stress would be relieved knowing that this allowance would help you if you were struggling. Maybe you're not struggling, but you would like to start a business that might seem risky. Would this money help you achieve that dream? If you're a student, would this money allow you to focus on school instead of paying expenses like student loans, housing, or other living and school expenses? What if you were a new parent? Would it allow you to spend more time with your child instead of rushing to go to work and leaving someone else to take care of them? While prices vary depending on the area, the average cost of food for one person for 1 month is $250. Rent can also be on the higher side if you live on the western or northeastern parts of America, but on average around the country, it's $688 a month. Electricity being spent also varies depending on where you are, but on average, Americans spend 909 kilowatt hours per month, and cost per kilowatt hour is roughly 12.79 cents on average. Which means that on average, Americans are spending $116.26 per month on electricity. Would you agree that at the base level, these are the basic needs of an individual? If these were taken care of, would you agree that life would be much easier to go through without having to worry about these? BIEN lists the following 5 defining characteristics of basic income. Periodic, so it must be distributed in regular payments. Cash payment, distributed as funds rather than, for example, vouchers for goods or services. Individual, each citizen or adult citizen receives a payment rather than each household. Universal, all citizens receive the payment. And unconditional, recipients are not required to demonstrate need or willingness to work. The idea that a sum of money to take care of people's money issues sounds like a no-brainer, right? On the surface level, it seems like a utopian ideal that can't be implemented for one reason or another. The reality is that there were actually very few places where reforms of UBI has been implemented, and the results have been mostly positive. Here are results around the world on successful programs. In Manitoba, Canada, the program MINCOME saw a decrease in hospital visits and an increase in education. For Omitara, Namibia, BIG, or the Basic Income Grant, showed that poverty levels decreased, child malnutrition decreased, the crime rate decreased, education increased, healthcare clinic use increased, and economic activities increased. As for Madhya Pradesh, India, basic living conditions increased, sufficiency increased, nutrition increased, education increased, economic activities increased, and illness and deaths decreased. These are some examples of how successful programs went. What are your thoughts on these results? Would you agree it's benefited mankind as a whole? How do you feel your area would be impacted by a universal basic income? Better yet, how do you think you would benefit if you were given a universal basic income of, let's say, $1,000 a month that you could spend on whatever your needs are? So do you feel like universal basic income would make a difference in your life? Because this is such a complicated topic, we're going to divide this into a few parts. Stay tuned to our next segment on the supporters of universal basic income. So until next time, take this information and make wise moves.